What is the most OP build for Monica in Fire Emblem 3 Hopes? I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail, but in case you didn't, today is another dancer build. Monica has a very unique ability that requires timing for her to really excel. She has a lot of potential, as do many of the characters I've built so far, but with Monica, it's a little different. We have the chance to increase how strong our unique is, which we really don't have the opportunity to do very often. This is exactly why I am happy to present Dance Instructor Monica. Our weapon of choice is none other than Bloodgain. I know I tend to use this weapon often, and it's because it's so strong. Wit Strike makes all of our damage magic based, even our normal attacks. When a mage character like Monica wants to do damage as a non-mage class, we need Wit Strike to power us up. If that wasn't already enough, Bloodgain also comes with Subversion, which greatly increases our crit on all of our magic attacks, which pretty much means everything right now. However, there is an alternative weapon that you can run. If you can find yourself a sword with boost combat arts and magic, and boost critical 3, then you're set. Admittedly, it's not as strong as Bloodgain, but we only have one of those, and by now you're likely to have it on someone else. Our accessory is going to be Magic Staff to give us Expert Wizardry. This increases the damage of our magic-based attacks, which again means everything. Our battalion is going to be Resist Cavalry. This is not mandatory, so choose the battalion you would like to use. Our spells are going to be Bolganun and Hades. Bolganun is a really strong fire spell. I like the placement and range of this ability more than Ragnarok. However, Ragnarok does do better damage, so feel free to use the one you prefer. As for Hades, although this spell lacks the range of our other two fire spells, it makes up for it in not just raw damage potential, but also applies darkness. Darkness slows enemies down, stops them from guarding our damage, and lowers their defense and resistance. The only element stronger than darkness in my opinion is ice. Monica has 3 unique abilities, the first of which is called Wicked Impulse. This ability is the main deciding factor for making her dancer. When we strike at the right time, we generate a large shockwave imbued with an element corresponding to the attack. Normally this ability is pretty good. It's not the best I've seen, it's not the worst, but if we make use of the Dancer's class action to speed up Monica, this also speeds up our strike timing on Wicked Impulse. In one way, it makes it more difficult to pull off. Since everything is faster, that means your timing window is also shorter. But if you get used to this new speed, you will be able to throw out devastating attacks much faster than before. Shrewd Operator is Monica's second ability. This ability greatly increases damage dealt to enemies afflicted with a status effect. We apply status effects from our spells as well as our unique ability, Wicked Impulse. So we will pretty much always have the damage buff active. And Perfect Memory increases our damage dealt by 50% when ordered to guard. Our class ability is Tome Buster, which boosts our damage against tomes by 95%. This is a pretty nice buster to have as a mage. Now as for our abilities, I'll tell you where I got each one at the end of the video. Sword Prowess boosts our damage by 30% while wielding a sword. Wild Abandon greatly increases our damage done, but also greatly increases our damage received. Special Dance not only powers up our Dancer class action, but I'm pretty sure it extends how long the buff lasts for as well. Offensive Tactics gives us another 20% damage boost as long as our battalion is still active. Gather will gather enemies right in front of you every time you use the first regular attack of a combo. You can actually just attack with the first attack over and over if you delay your button presses. That way you could just gather everything up really quickly before attacking. Boost Critical boosts our crit hit chance. Burst of Valor restores the warrior gauge with each critical hit. Spirited Seize restores the warrior gauge some more every time we seize a stronghold. Cyclical Specials increase the warrior gauge fill rate even further after initiating a warrior special. And Driven Spirit increases the warrior gauge fill rate while we're awakened. This gives us a lot of warrior special opportunities. Our major stat for this build is of course Magic. Speed and Dex are our secondary stats. So to get the proper stat makeup, you want to level Monica as a Gremory 90 times and a Trickster 30 times. This will get you very close to cap with magic, if not actually hitting the cap, while also giving a small boost to your speed and your dex. Monica is a pretty strong character, but she can't compete with the damage output that some of these other characters are capable of dishing out. So with that being said, if you want to boost her with stat boosting items, you can, especially if she's your favorite character. She can get a lot stronger. However, there are a lot of characters with just stronger overall kits, so I would save your stat items for them. The gameplay loop is really unique this time around. You want to start the battle off with a Hades, and while that spell is still going, try to get a full buff from your Dancer ability. You're going to need around 80% of your class action bar filled, and you're going to want to hit each timing correctly. You can see the timing when the circle pops up on the screen. Once you have this buff, you can cast Bolganun or Ragnarok to interrupt your enemies a little longer. Run into the middle of the enemies and start comboing your Wicked Impulse. You can start this combo by just using a regular attack and time your attacks the same way you would with a Dancer. Don't forget that you have Gather, so before you start doing your damage, you can start pulling enemies towards you by using your first attack from a regular combo. Over and over and over. That's the main loop, but we also have a lot of warrior special gains on this build, so feel free to use them often. Your awakening gauge, however, you will not be able to charge very often, and it isn't going to last very long, so use it sparingly. As for where I got each ability, Sword Prowess is from Myrmidon, Thief, and Mercenary. Wild Abandon from Brigand, Special Dance from Dancer, Offensive Tactics from Wyvern Rider, Gather from Trickster, Boost Critical from Warlock, Burst of Valor from Trickster, Spirited Seas from Fighter, Cyclical Specials and Driven Spirit from Dark Knight, Bolganun from Mage, and Hades from Gremory. If you liked today's video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more.